what do you think from a policy point of view we should be looking at to harmonize the different regulations across countries and to ensure that the vision of PAPS becomes even more solid and more advantageous to the people?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm currently working with the Cambridge SupTech Lab. We focus on financial supervision with financial authorities. But my background is actually in payments, in fintech, before I joined the lab and worked with regulators. So I'll start by saying I have no doubt that from a technical perspective, we're going to have efficient, effective systems for integrating across the continent globally through traditional channels, fintech channels, through mobile channels. This is going to happen. It's coming. So what I'd like to really highlight is what is the role of policymaking, regulation, supervision in the areas that aren't quite as technical, that are about adoption, about not leaving people behind. So three main principles come to mind for me. So number one is building trust and inclusion in any system. When you're bringing two payment systems together, you're bringing two cultures, two worlds together, and it's really important that that's accounted for. So I've done quite a bit of work in my past jobs working with studies on financial inclusion for the past decade or more, particularly in the African continent, and understanding what drives inclusion. At the top of that list for consumers, thousands of consumers from 4 countries across Africa that we've directly surveyed, is reliability of the system. Only after reliability comes the value proposition, then accessibility, then affordability. Of course, all overlying a viable business model so something doesn't just close up shop, but reliability is at the top of that list, and that means trust. And the way to engender trust in a system is to have effective, stable financial ecosystem and to have consumer protection measures in place. So that's the component that supervision comes in. That's a huge role through consumer protection, prudential supervision, anti-money laundering, these other areas. So that's trust and inclusion. Secondly, we're moving from processes that exist. Just because they're not technically digitally integrated doesn't mean they don't exist today. Right. So there's a digital transformation component that comes along with this, which then includes data that's coming off of this and the need for data science. So I think in terms of digital transformation, this is really about understanding how we can make sure that the data that's being generated by these interoperable systems are designed also with customers in mind, additional financial services beyond payments, but also with supervisors in mind, with regulators in mind, so that there doesn't have to be another layer of innovation on top of that if we take that all off at once. And of course, data science is a huge portion of this. We heard yesterday the Minister of Commerce and Digitalization in Ghana talking about a national data lake that's integrated with a regional system and a international system ultimately. That's a very forward-looking, it's here today technologically, but it's really like at the cutting edge of where we're hearing public sector authorities talk about this. There are others who are still just getting reporting in today. So I think making sure that we are accounting for capacity building along with this too. So at the lab, we work on transforming financial authorities' perspectives on the paradigm shifts that are happening as a result of this digitalization. We get hands-on with data science tools, like really tweaking models and understanding how these systems work so that authorities can understand the systems that are in the market that they're regulating. And finally, we work with authorities to innovate, to do design sprints, value proposition designs, technical specifications, process integrations themselves, so that they're prepared for these systems to be integrated and prepared to take care of those kind of measures that make a secure and stable and safe ecosystem for consumers to
Right. So from a policy perspective, we need to consider the different nuances, especially the different cultures, the different understanding of what trust is, the different capacities, ensure that across Africa we are able to harmonize regulation at the trust level, regulation at the data protection level, and also look at areas around talent development, capacity building, and also from what you're saying, let data lead the way. That's what I hear from what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And having shared taxonomies and standards around this data allows for sharing of tools also. Right. These are things that need to be built on top of this. So it's not only the capacity and the technologies, but it's also the sharing of successes, lessons learned, and tools on top of this.
Right.